Hello, friends. It's good to see you. Thanks. It's Thursday. That means it's time for our topics. Talk about a different topic every week on here. Whatever. This week, topic is perspective is everything. And one thing I've been noticing is that a lot of the newsletter topics I've been doing of late have been inspired because of conversations. And that was one. That was one. The volume is going in and out. Let's see what I can. Hang on a minute. I don't know. Let me know if that is better. We're seeing no sound and volume going in and out. Hang on. Let's see what I can do here. Hang on one second. I'm going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get John. Hang on one second. I am going to, oh, is it better now? Is it better? Did I fix it? Did I fix it? Before I got John? He'll be proud of me. Are you proud of me? Seriously, is it better now? We seem to be good. Okay. Well then, how good is that? All right. So good to see all of you. Members, thank you so much for being here and for being members. We're going to talk about perspective. What perspective needs reframing? And perhaps I just reframed a personal perspective that every time there's a tech issue, I need John because I fixed that one all by myself. Yay. All right. So, and I think that's an important thing. Like, as people, I mean, I'm joking about that, but I think it is true that as people, we can get it in our head that, like, I'm not good at this, or I tend to react this way to that. But then something happens and we have to change our perspective about ourselves. And in fact, that was a conversation we had here on this channel that will become a members only live stream in March. Tarot for Self-Perspective. So today we're talking about all kinds of perspective. We will reframe whatever you need to reframe here today. It could be about yourself. It could be about a relationship. It could be about a situation. It could be like, sometimes I think reframing perspective is about what do you tell yourself to make this suck less? But oftentimes what you're going to be telling yourself to make it suck less is not a pretty lie. It is actually closer to the truth because we very often have very negative stories about ourselves or about what people should do, or we have negative stories around what we're supposed to be doing that we're not now doing. So, I think largely reframing perspective is a thing that we do with tarot all the freaking time. Like, that is, in many ways, I think the point of a tarot reading is to reframe a perspective. So that's what we're here to do today. We're here to do readings on reframing perspective. What do you want to know? What do you need reframed? What perspective do you need to change? Let's take a look. The cards are going to be here to give you perspective today. Let's hop on over to CardCam, where you can see I have grabbed my very, very beat up Hanson Roberts deck. And we're going to start. The first question I see is Mediha Ness. Ness, thanks for being here for more than 2 years, for being a member. Thanks for using members only emojis. I need a new perspective on my life. Nothing ever works out. Every single thing is like pulling teeth in the old Wild West. How do I get my joy and strength back from my life? So the first question The first question is, what has really caused this perspective? Because that's not your personality. That's not who you are. So what has really caused this perspective? I think it's a couple of things. I think it is your young son and schooling has been difficult, and your evil boss has been difficult. Same card for both of them, but you can see how that goes, right? So you've had a couple of situations, and the situation with your son, he wasn't the issue. It was how people responded to him. And so you have been dealing with some people who have power in your life who aren't smart, like stupid people who have power in your life. I think that is the thing that has pissed in your Cheerios nest. I think that's why you're sort of in this nothing ever works out. Now, is it true? Here's the next thing, Ness. Is it true that nothing ever works out in your life? It's true that you feel that way. But when we look at your life, you know, the other thing is I feel like your husband's job situation is also sort of an issue. So we've got your job, your husband's job, and your son's schooling. All three of those things, that feels like a lot. I can see why you say nothing is ever working out, because that feels like a lot. So how do we reframe this? Because it does. It's a lot. There's no doubt about it. It's a lot. And it's a lot in many ways that seems to be caused by other people being ridiculous. So how do you reframe this, and what do you do? I think there's this whole issue around opportunities. Your husband looking for opportunities in education for your son, or opportunities in ways for him to be able to be educated without bullying. Opportunities for you to do the work that you do in a better environment. And I think the big thing is it feels like there are no opportunities. And that's why it feels like you can't win. There are just no good opportunities for any of this. And that's the way it's been. I think what we need to do is manifest new opportunities and look for new opportunities for all three of you, because that's what it's going to take. It's not just a perspective switch here. It's something that all three of you desperately need. The perspective is to recognize that it's possible. Let me know what you think. All right, 64 Amy Penn, so good to see you. What do the cards tell me about my perspective? I think you really try to stay positive, and you try to stay in control of a situation, and you try to figure out what's really going on under the surface. I don't think you can do much better than that. I think you just have to keep doing that. All right. All right, here we go. LP, good to see you. I'm glad you liked that question. Smile Soul 20, you're up next. Thanks for being a member for more than 3 years, and thanks for being the first one here today. I was comforted when I saw you. I was late getting on. I had some tech issues getting it together. And it's like, oh, there's Smile Soul 20, all is well. Okay. So thank you. I really appreciate you. All right. My question is, what do I need perspective on in my life? I think there's some things that you believe or were taught to believe about yourself and about what's possible for you in life that are limiting. I think you have some limited beliefs that have limited your perspective on your possibilities. And I think that could and should change to open up and be more expansive. Jolie James, so good to see you. Thanks for being a moderator. What is the new perspective I need around reframing my past and how it relates to my future, especially in career? Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So what you were taught about your potential Like when we're thinking about you as a young child, looking at your potential for your career, what you were taught about your potential was completely limited, and it was limited by the isms. Certainly by sexism, probably by racism. It was limited. And so we see that. We see that. So we know that you started with a limitation about what was possible for you. We understand that. Okay, that's one. Okay. Two, as you began career with that sense of limitation, you actually did well. You were smart. You learned. You grew. And you learned how to sort of handle things. Jolie, I see you're here. You're like, yes. You learned how to let things roll off you. You learned how to play the game. Where you are now is you actually have a great deal of skill and ability in terms of both hard and soft skills. You really do. That's real. But in terms of what's happening, yes, I'm loving you right now. In terms of what's happening, you're not doing what you want to do. You're not making the money you want to make. And you are a volunteer for StaarCon, and you are, man, you were one of my great psychic choices, to be honest with you. I didn't know you at all. You would just come to the village. And I was like, that one. You were the first person to volunteer for the online. And so I was like, okay, you're going to be the stage manager. Had no idea. And you were so right for the job because you've got the tech, you understand how to do things, you're very organized. Like, I pride myself on psychically knowing that before I knew anything about you. But, interesting comment. I started in healthcare with all these doubts and people saw my potential and I rose to director level. There you go. But we also know what happens to directors. Director is the hardest position in the freaking world because you have all the responsibility. You've got the prestige of the title, hopefully some salary that goes along with it. You've got all the blame and very little power. Directing is hard. So I feel like where you are right now, you're not happy with where you are for whatever reason. Now I've left corporate and I'm navigating starting my own business world. Okay, so when we look at that, you just have to remember who you are, not who you were told to be. And don't be afraid to get out there and don't be afraid to offer your services to people. Don't be afraid to market yourself. I feel like you're so skilled, you're so talented, and you're not. I feel like you're not marketing yourself as well as you could. And that's a perspective issue too, because I think marketing feels like bragging, and it is, but you need to do it. So hard managing that while supporting your daughter became difficult. Yeah, I bet. I think you were right to leave corporate. I think that was correct. And I do think you really have something to offer here. And I think it's going to be a matter of marketing to get where you want to go. But marketing is also about perspective, because if you don't believe it, people will know. You know, I can tell you that I am the best damn tarot reader I know. And I'm completely confident saying that. And you can feel that, right? But if you're not confident in what you're marketing, people are going to feel it, and that makes a difference. So that's the shift. That's the shift, which means you did all of the big shifting already, which was so necessary and so good. So well done. Well done. Yeah, Jolie, you feel it. Exactly. You feel it when someone's confident and when they're not. So you must be confident. That's really the key. I just have to move something here so I can see better. Give me a minute. Right, they smell the fear. It's true. They smell the fear. They smell disingenuous, whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Ness, it's a new moon today. I'll do my new moon wishes and then continue to look for better work. My kid's school is looking for a gardener. I'm thinking that would be hard with the weather, but it would be outdoors instead of a toxic factory. Please allow me this indulgence. Ness has been a member for 2 years and is such a good village member. Please, everyone in line, allow me this indulgence of going back to Ness. Let's just see about this. I mean, aren't you curious? I'm curious. Should Ness apply to be the gardener at the school? Like, I can think, like, in my brain is already like, click, click, click. It's creative. Yes, it's hard with weather, but with weather, you just wear the right clothes. There's no right clothes you can wear to deal with an asshole boss. Right? And there's something about being at your kid's school that I think would be really interesting in terms of keeping an eye on things. So my head is already like, click, click, click. This sounds interesting. But let's not think about what I think. Let's think about what the cards think. What do we see? Do the cards think? I swear to goodness, I was just saying to IT John yesterday, I've become more of an animist as I've gotten older. But there that is. All right, here we go. All right. Ness, should you apply for this gardening job? Okay, okay. Okay, let's do this a different way. Is the gardening job at the school a decent job? It's, it could be. What would be the worst thing about it? I think there's issues with the administration. I do. Or management. I think it would be a similar issue to what you have now. Would you like working there better than your current job? Yeah, you would. Would the money be acceptable? Ish. Should you apply? Well, why not? Of course you should. And would you get the job if you did apply? There's probably only a 25% chance that you would get the job anyway. Would applying in any way create weird issues? Would applying create any weird issues for your son or you as a parent in the community? It was better, Ness, it was better in my head than it is in the cards. That's all I can tell you. You might as well apply and see what happens, but this may not be your way. I'm sorry. It is what it is. All right. LP, you are up next. What am I missing focus on? I think there's a career focus or something. You know what it is? It's bigger than that. It's about everything that could make you happy. What you're missing is the idea that you could have career, love, family, all the things you want and could be happy. I think you believe you're only going to end up with some small subset of what is possible. So I think that you're missing like the perspective that you need to switch. Is I think that you somehow believe you are not capable of achieving the normal things that we all want. And I'm here to tell you you are and you can and you will, but you must believe. And now I break into Disney song because, of course, I am a fairy godmother, right? Isn't there like a song about how you have to believe? Right. I do have limiting beliefs. Damn straight you do. That's the perspective you need to shift. All right. Gemini Sun, you're up next. Thanks for being a moderator. What can I do right now to reframe my perspective on myself and loved ones around me? I know it's from childhood trauma. Do others perceive me differently than I perceive myself? All right. All right. Oh, there's the song. A dream is a wish your heart makes. I promise you that in my fantasy mind, I look like a Disney fairy godmother, and I can sing those songs, and I do, right? In my fantasy mind, that's what's happening right now. Higher power did not bless me with a good singing voice, and it has not gotten better as I've gotten older. But that's what's happening in my mind. Oh, Gemini Sun, you've rejoined as a member. Yay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Really appreciate that. Thanks for... Oh, and oh my goodness. Where is my brain? You did it just in time because, friends, we have a members-only live stream tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The link is already up. Members, join us tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time for the members-only live stream. We're doing the cards you love to hate. It's going to be fun. So Gemini Sun, you're just under the wire. And if you're not a member and you want to come to this tonight, do as Gemini Sun did. All right. Now, Gemini Sun. Do others perceive me differently than I perceive myself? Let's start with that. How do others perceive you? Others perceive you in relationship to them. I think one of the biggest problems here is like your family perceives you as, thank you so much, Sarah. I really appreciate that. I never wanted to be a Disney princess, but fairy godmother, bippity boppity boo, I am down for that. Oh my gosh, yes. All right, Gemini Sun. I really believe that like you were taught to be in relation with others, right? You are somebody's daughter. You are somebody's sister. You are somebody's mother. You are somebody's wife, whatever. I think others perceive you in relationship to them, and you have been taught to perceive yourself that way too. Now, that is obviously a part of who you are, and we are all a part of who we are, and we delight. You know, I delight in being a mother, a grandmother, a wife. I delight in those things. But that's not the whole of who we are. And I think people around you have sort of almost tried to reduce you to that. So that's an issue. Now, how do you perceive yourself? The thing is, I think you worry that you're not meeting those expectations. And I feel like none of this gives you personhood. That's my concern. None of this gives you full personhood. So, I think that some of the loved ones around you have been very comfortable keeping you small and to some extent in servitude. And you are allowing yourself to be bigger than that. And those who really love you will see that and allow that and celebrate that as well. Like that's not going to be a problem. Gemini Sun, I try not to do that, but I do. Yeah. So you just have to let yourself grow beyond that into full personhood. And I think it's happening naturally anyway. And I think the people who love you will see it and respect it and not recognize that they were part of your limitation. And that's okay. They don't have to. Trey Cameron, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member for more than a year. What perspectives do I need to shift in my life the most? And if so, how do I best accomplish that? I so want to tease you in this moment, but I won't. I might when I see what the cards come up, but I'm going to refrain from saying anything until the cards come up. And I shouldn't single you out for teasing, Trey, but sometimes I really want to because you're too fun. That's why. All right. Trey, what perspectives do you need to shift? I get it. Okay. I really wanted to say something a little bit snarky. Right, it's because I already know the answer. Right, so we're going to do it. You have, I think, a sneaking suspicion in this nihilist kind of way. And I think the reason because I have this too, like you and I have some of this in common, that what if everything is just on fire, really? Like, what if everything just sucks and nothing matters? You know, like I think you can get, and I can too, you know, we can find absolute proof that we are just fucked and always will be. And so what's even the point of anything? And I don't think you're living in that perspective all the time, but I think that perspective can come in for you. And as one who has that same monster inside me, I have to tell you, there can be no room for that. It's not helpful. We can make a lot of reasons to believe that we're right when we think about things that way. Yeah, same, Trey. Oh my gosh. See, that's it. That's why, like, you and I have a lot in common, and there it is. My Leo rising takes control and I get happy, right? Right. Right. I think, you know, you're capable of, here's the truth. They did a study, right? It's about balance. It absolutely is. They did a study a long time ago where they were using a machine where people could see one of two images, and it was like a subconscious choice which image you were going to see. And one was people sitting around the birthday cake, and the other was people sitting around a coffin. Depressed people saw the coffin, which was there. Not depressed people saw the birthday cake. But, you know, what I learned from reading about that was my, you know, sort of negative views were not unrealistic. Like, sometimes depressed people are just realistic, but they lean into the lean into the reality rather than hope. Hope is what keeps us healthy. Hope, joy, happiness is actually necessary to our health, even if it defies reality. There it is, Trey. And you're right, it is absolutely about balance. Absolutely. All right. Kathy, good to see you. Thanks for being a member for more than 3 years. This topic really resonated with me. My focus has been so external, but lately I've been examining myself. I think the perspective I need to focus on is judgment. Do the cards agree? Oh, good one, good one. Just going back to the comments real quick. I'm a DNS. Always look on the bright side of life, right? We know that movie. Yep. Yeah, no, it's true. You need it. Trey, I haven't lost hope yet. Depression sometimes, though. It's true. We all have a bit of situational depression now and again. It's not until it becomes clinical or general that it's an issue. But hanging on to that thinking can take you right down that rabbit hole, any one of us. So we must be vigilant. And yeah. I don't know about you, but for me, it's all about keeping a sense of humor is part of it, right? Right. So there it is. Okay, Kathy, I am looking forward to this. And your perspective you need to focus on is judgment. Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. Yourself and others. To recognize that you and every other human being, 9 times out of 10, is doing the best they can in the moment, even if that is precious little. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think you'll be happier if you do that. Febborn, so good to see you. Thanks for being a member. This is interesting. I love this. I was once told perspective is how people see me, how I see myself, how I am truly, how do I show up, what is really true. Those are all different perspectives for sure. Absolutely, yeah, I agree. That makes me want to do a spread, But I wonder if you actually have a question. That was a great comment, and I could read on it. And then you say great newsletter, and I say thank you. But is that a question? Okay, I'm just going to do it because it's fun. So if you have another question, I'll do that too, whatever. So Febborn, thanks for being a member. So here it is. It's a 3-card spread, and it's a good one. Y'all should take notes on this because it's good. How people see me. This is for Febborn. How I see myself. How I am truly. How people see you. You're a person who handles stuff, gets things done, and survives things. How you see yourself. I think you're not doing everything you need to do. How you are truly healing from things that were heavy. You're healing from heavy stuff. So that's what I see. All right. Gianna, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. We appreciate you. Thank you, everyone, for your great comments. I really appreciate all of you. Okay. Gianna. I'm aware. No, I get this. This is not silly at all. I'm aware of how silly this sounds. Not silly. But I have daily guilt about not allowing my cat to roam free outside. I understand that. She's a creature who would want to be outside but can't be because of safety. But when I was growing up, we always, like, the idea of an indoor cat when I was growing up was like unheard of. Of course you let the cats go outside. I understand this completely. It's the only thing she wants in the world, and I don't let her. I understand why, too. We built her a huge backyard enclosure, which really helps a lot, but she still wants total freedom, as I know every creature does. I just wish I knew the right thing to do. Number one, Gianna, recognize that's not silly at all. That's a totally compassionate, reasonable question. That brings up a lot of issues. Yeah, Barbie Bird, I totally get this. I feel bad that Carl went from outdoor cat to small apartment cat. Yeah. How is Carl doing with that? Oh, Febborn, thank you. You answered. I do hold back so as not to be taken advantage of. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. All right, so Gianna, when I look at your kitty, here's the thing, man. Here's your cat. Your cat, and this is all cats, but it's specifically your cat. Your cat, absolutely, like you could give your cat the whole planet and your cat would want to go to space. But your cat actually does not, your cat is not well wired to be a full outdoor cat. Your cat could not handle themselves out in the world. So, you know, this is like the teenager's desire to drive the car and get drunk. You would not let your teenager drive drunk. So that's what I'm going to say. Anytime you feel guilty, just remember you would not give a drunk teenager the keys to the car. You wouldn't give a drunk anyone keys to the car. And that is kind of what we're looking at here. Oh, Barbie, Carl is mostly okay, but it's been cold. Hoping to create space for him on my balcony this spring. Yeah, I'm sure he would appreciate that for sure. So yeah, I think when I look at your kitty, Gianna, your kitty is fine. Your kitty is fine. And yes, loves the backyard enclosure. Martha, I have a cat that constantly tries to go out too, but there are hawks and other animals besides cars that would endanger him. A catio is a great thing. Yeah. 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 I think you did a great job making a catio. What else could you have done? Febborn, are you sure you're not over my head waving that wand? You get it so right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Sarah F., good to see you. I want to quit my job, but can't right now because of money, and I don't know what else I would do. What perspective should I be aware of? Okay, well, when we look at your job, it is true that in some ways it's not broke. You know, it is making the money you need. But your desire to quit it is real, and eventually you're going to need to, because that is very real. And what else could you do? And this is the problem. So here's the perspective. Here's the perspective. Stop thinking about quitting the job. Stop thinking about, I don't know what else I would do. Do the freaking research. What else could you do? What's available to you? You have very specific issues and limitations as well as specific skills. What's available to you? Are there training programs? Are there things that make particular accommodations? There probably are opportunities you're not aware of. So don't worry about quitting the job right now. Worry about doing the research to find what your next step could be. Once you have a solid next step, then you can. And it will help, and it will be good. Oh, wow. Wow, I hadn't even thought about this. Martha, cats eat birds, bad for the birds, of course, but also with bird flu, bad for the animals and people around them. Now, there's a perspective I hadn't thought of. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, Liz, you're so sweet talking to Gianna. Your sweet cat is lucky to have you as a person they can trust in this incarnation. Maybe a part of their story. That's beautiful. All right. Mary, so good to see you. What do I need to know about my perspective? I think you're trying to have a very appropriate perspective, but then you sort of get overwhelmed with how hard and messed up everything is, which it is. So that's not a bad perspective, but you need to, like, okay, lean into this, not this. Both of these cards are your perspective. You're creative, you're balanced, you're patient, you're magical, and you are so sick to death of things not working the way you want them to. Lean into this one, not this one. Oh, gee, Mediha Ness, I'm just looking. So you're not going to be the pick at the other position. Yeah, that does not actually surprise me. All right. All right. That's okay. I'm glad you're looking, though. All right, Martha Vink, good to see you. How can I change the unhelpful self-perspectives I have? Thanks for being a member. Thanks for using members-only emojis. And, of course, a reminder to all the members, we have our members-only live tonight, 7 p.m. How can you change the unhelpful self-perspectives you have, Martha Vink? Well, let's look. What are the unhelpful self-perspectives you have? I think somehow you believe everybody is awesome and wonderful, and here you are over here being a little awkward. Like, there's this thing about not completely fitting in, this thing about not being on the same wavelength as everyone else, which obviously is an exaggeration. But I think in a lot of ways it is what you feel internally versus how other people perceive you. When we look at how other people perceive you as wise and smart and grounded and capable and friendly and community building and not at all self-serving. And I think you know all of those things are true too. How, Martha, can you shift out of your unhelpful self-perspective? I'm going to say it's in prayer and meditation. Recognize it for what it is. Recognize that, you know what it is, being a misfit. We misfits have been called, you know, the misfits of yesterday are the leaders of today. And so, you know, rework that misfit label in prayer and meditation, and recognize how being that misfit has allowed you to serve so well. And so love your position on Misfit Island with the rest of us. All right. Barbie Bird, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Laura, I see you looking for a reading, and so I'm just going to do a reading on perspective for you and how that is. And Barbie, I see your edit to your question. Nothing to be sorry for. You're good. Okay, so Laura, good to see you. For you, I think you feel like you don't have what you want and need, and you're not sure how to get it. I think, and this is true like in terms of money, in terms of love, in terms of all the things. And I think the key is going to be, for you, asking for what you want. Recognize that you have to ask for what you want. And it feels like sometimes you go to a dry well and are surprised when you don't get water. So if you're trying to get something you want from a particular person and you're not getting it there, you're not going to. I think that's the perspective that needs to change. Okay, Barbie Bird, thanks for being a member for more than a year. We appreciate you. We've been chatting so much about perspective, and now I'm sure what to even ask. I'm just curious, if I were to bite the bullet and try comedy stand-up, how would I be received and perceived? And Barbie says to edit that. And in terms of your own perspective of life, how to lean into the comedic perspective, which I think is really good for avoiding depression. I think if it's a choice between laughing and crying, you might as well laugh, because it is funny. Okay, so if you try stand-up, it's very scary. That is very, very scary, but I think you should. I think you should. I think you should. How would you be perceived if you did? I think by the audience, you would be perceived as learning and growing and ultimately good and gifted. By people who now know you, I think everyone would be supportive. I think everyone would be freaking supportive of this. And in your own life, how often should you lean into your internal comedic voice? All the freaking time, but then something else might need to happen. Like that's not necessarily where it ends. Then you might need to do something to address the issue as well. So let me know what you think about that. Vaishali, good to see you. Thanks for being here. What perspective do I need to change in myself? What's my perspective about myself? So your perspective about yourself, Vaishali. Like, I think you know you're smart. I think you know you're good. You're just afraid and you're tired of being afraid. Good, Barbie. We want the video, and you know we want the video. I think the perspective you need to change, Vaishali, is that you have a reason to be afraid. You don't have a reason to be afraid. There it is. Yeah, Barbie Bird. And you know what? Don't get over your fears. You're not going to. Just do the creativity anyway. There's a perspective. Okay. Oh, this is good. TJ and GA. How can I best gain a higher perspective over the things I tend to worry about? Remember who you are. Remember that historically everything you've worried about has come out okay, for the very most part, and let that help you dial back on the worry. Liz Harrison, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member for more than a year. Trying to have a different perspective with regards to my siblings and our family situation, but as a result, I pull away instead. Any advice from the cards how to accept a new perspective? What if pulling away is the right perspective? Let's look at that. pulling away is maybe the only thing you could do. I think the perspective that you're trying to have to deal with them is a perspective that has to make you kind of small and wrong and quiet, and maybe pulling away is the best thing you can do right now, and maybe reevaluate later as things change. Like, I'm not sure that this is bad. I think it could be the best thing that's possible here. And I wonder if you're holding yourself responsible for something that is not possible. Let me know what you think. All right. And Jackie Masters, it's so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Sarah F. So good to see you. You're who I'm looking for. I already did you, Sarah. Glad you're here. Quinkle Harrius, Renata, thanks for being here. Who am I beyond my self-judgment? What a great question. What a great question. You're a person with a lot of great ideas and a lot of heart and a lot of knowledge and a lot of spiritual wisdom and a lot of creativity and an ability to work hard, but you limit yourself. Let me know what you think. Okay. Jackie Masters, so good to see you. Thanks for being a member for more than 3 years. What perspective do I hold about myself, and how can I reframe this to have a more fulfilling life? I think you hold a perspective that you are often on the outside looking in. Quinkle Harrius, you're very welcome. And Liz, I feel much better having pulled away, which is how we know that was probably the right perspective. All right. Jackie Masters, I think you often feel like you are not fitting in or are not connecting with others, and that others don't want to connect with you, but a lot of time others do want to connect with you. It's just hard to find the opening, and if you allow the opening, it will be there. Does that make any sense? Let me know. Okay. All right. Rebecca, Misfit Island, I want to go there, right? So, from my perspective, I've answered everyone. Let me know if I skipped you or if you haven't asked. It is last call for readings at this time. I am available for readings. There's a link in the description to book. Please do. And of course, members only live stream tonight. Please join us. We're going to have so much fun. 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much to the members, the moderators. Thanks to everyone for being here. Members, I'll see you tonight. Theranaya. Theranaya, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Jackie, I see your second question. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do Theranaya, then I'm coming back to you. Theranaya, I get tired of how much growth I've had to do. What is a new perspective? I understand. It is tiring. And it's a perspective of congratulations for doing it, recognizing it's not fair that you were in the position of having to do it. And what else can I say? Recognizing that you're in a position like you didn't put yourself in that position. So like you have a right to be tired. You have a right to be frustrated. You have a right to be angry. But here's the reality. You have to be so proud of yourself for being able to do it. You have to be so proud of yourself that you are doing it. So let it go to your pride and your sense of personal power, and that will be a good reframing for you. Martha, I saw a meme one time that said, if you feel like you don't fit in, it means you're not an asshole. Yeah, get it, for sure. Okay, Jackie, it makes sense, not sure how to allow that opening. You know what it is? I learned this in fundraising. Always assume support. Always assume that people like you. This is true for tarot reading too. Always assume that people like you, that people are interested in you, that people like what you do. Assume support and be surprised if different. That's the way for you specifically, Jackie, and that's the way for a lot of us about a lot of things. All right. My friends, I really appreciate you. I want to thank you all so much. Members, I'll hope to see you tonight. The link is already up. Take good care. Thanks so much. Book a reading with me. I'll be back tomorrow, and I'll get those links up very shortly. I appreciate all of you very, very much. Have a great day.